have something else I want to ask you. Saying no. And if I could be more specific in my case, I do a lot of self-development. That's my world and my work. And I lead other people, so it's always important for me to be an example. However, I found myself in a place with...
Well, then you're in a really hard situation, because you can't control the perspective of others to whom you are being an example. They all come with their own vibration. And so if you're trying to perform in a way that is getting pleasing results from them, then you're asking of yourself something that you can never accomplish, which is controlling their response.
Right.
You see, you got to just let that go and care about your alignment, period. That's easy to accomplish. Alignment with them, really not easy or possible.
I have a ex-business partner that I just haven't been feeling right about things. I've tried to correct.
Ex for a reason, huh?
Yeah. And we've tried different things, and I've decided, you know what, for this year, I just need to let it go. Just let it be away from me for a little while. And recently he's wanted to go on a trip with some of my best friends that he didn't even know, just through me. And I was asked the question of whether or not I was okay with that. And my problem was, my initial thought or feeling was no. But I give myself a hard time with saying no, because who I want to be is a person who is not ego-driven and would accept.
We don't want you to be ego-driven. We want you to be alignment called. There's a difference between being driven and being inspired. And so when you realize that you've put it all in your vortex, and now your vortex is calling you to it, when you think about what you're inclined to say yes to and what you're inclined to say no to, don't let that be a bad thing to not feel like you want to say yes to something. It isn't. That's like saying, I'm going to get on the highway, and even though there are these lines that represent lanes, I don't want to be guided by that, so I'm going to drive all around. And we say, that's fine, except nobody else really understands that, and it's going to make a lot of trouble in your world. So sometimes it's helpful to think about what you're saying yes to, because every subject is really two subjects, wanted and unwanted. And so you can softly just say, what I really want is, when the impulse to say no comes up, no, I don't really want to do that. If you justify all the reasons you don't want to do that, you activate all that old stuff, which is now present now, which now is affecting every relationship you have. And that's why you wisely and intuitively know that's not the way to go about it. So if you say, well, what is it that I want to say yes to? That softens it, first of all, and then you can think about what it is you really like. Well, I really like being with my friends, and I really like the easiness that we all have together. And one of the reasons that we like to be together, what I'm saying yes to, one of the reasons that we like to be together is that we are, for the most part, on the same wavelength. And this is a vacation, which means it's a rest or respite for us. And so it's something where I really want relaxation. I really want something, I don't want to work at it. I really want relaxation about it. I really want to have fun. I want to feel easy about it. This is the thing, oh, such a good question. This is the thing that we want all of you to hear about this. You are not inappropriate when you take the path of least resistance. You mostly don't know that because you've been trained. If it's not hard, you're not getting anywhere. And if you don't struggle, then it doesn't really count. And if there's not some pain, then there can't be any gain. And those are all such flawed premises. They fly in the face of the laws of the universe as we know them to be. So we want you to soothe yourself into saying, it's all right for me to let my alignment come first. And so if I'm faced with a situation where I know my alignment is going to be challenged, there's nothing wrong with you taking the path of least resistance, because when you accomplish a resistant-free path, you get alignment. And when you get alignment, you get resources, you get replenishment, you get stuff to give to everyone. If you are not selfish enough to align yourself with your resources, you don't have anything to give anyone. And haven't you all had the experience where you did something that you really didn't want to do, and then it just kept showing you why you didn't want to do it? And so the way we talked about that here today was by saying, this thought must turn to this thing, and this thought must turn to this thing. So here's what you got to do. When someone hits you with something and it hits you right here, If you can't turn this thought to this thought, don't do it. That's the answer, isn't it? So could you do that? Could you say, well, that was then, this is now, and we're different people? You can't usually do that all of a sudden, can you? To turn that thought about a past relationship to this thought about a past relationship might take a few days of meditation. We wouldn't just do it on the fly. We wouldn't do it in real time. We wouldn't say, it's sort of like saying, well, my vibrational meter tells me that the way I feel about you and everything that's come down is going to result in more misery. But I think I'll just play it out and try to solve it in the middle of the misery. We'll just fight it out. We'll just fight it out until it gets better. You hear what we're saying, don't you? And so if you can't move it in the vibrational stage, then don't move toward it. And so no is the right answer. And if you want to soften it a little bit, you could say, I have to say no because I'm not in the right place for us to have a good outcome. In other words, that's telling it like it is. I have to say no, not because there's something wrong with you, but because I haven't come to the resolution that I need to be at in order for us to have the fantastic time that I now demand of myself. I gotta have fun or I don't want to go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
That's amazing.
Yes,
I wanted to give you this.
Yes, indeed. Now what? Feeling pretty good, aren't you? Feels good to be in the know.
How you doing? Just a simple question. I've been following you for, I don't know, 5 years, I guess, and a lot of success. I'm very excited. My second time I've been here. But a real simple thing. So if there's no assertion in the universe, then why are we transmitters? Who are we transmitting to? What are we transmitting? If there's no assertion. To me, transmission means you're asserting.
Well, you make a really good point. You're really going to like this. You can assert all you want as a transmission, but if there's no reception, then nothing happened anyway. In other words, if
but
you're...
I'm the receiver, correct?
But what we're getting at is if, let's say you're a broadcasting tower, and you're broadcasting, and in your terms, therefore asserting, or projecting, asserting, projecting. But if nobody's got their tuner on, so nobody's receiving it, then it doesn't matter that the broadcast is happening, because without reception of it, nothing has come together.
So like the tree in the forest. If nobody hears it, it doesn't happen.
All right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If the tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to receive the vibration of it, did it make a sound? And the answer is no, because no one translated the vibration into the sound. No one turned that thought into a thing.
Okay, all right. I'm still holding on to it,
This is the best conversation that we've ever had about the idea of assertion. And it is so satisfying to chew on it here a little bit, because of course there are obvious things. In other words, when you think a thought, you are broadcasting. So let's call it broadcasting. Let's call it asserting. Let's call it projecting. Your assertion cannot affect anyone who wasn't a vibrational match to it and therefore received it. So you cannot affect someone else's experience who doesn't match your vibration.
I see. So it's more like a magnet coming together. We're just attracting on that vibration of frequency. Okay.
And even a magnet, think about it. A piece of iron will actually repel.
Right.
Interesting, isn't it? Got to turn it around. In other words, it's the projection and the receiving before anything happens. Two magnets that are projecting, put one in the receiving mode.
One last thing. You said that every thought that's ever been thought is available now, in this moment.
Provided someone gets in the vibrational vicinity of it, yes.
So maybe a foolish question, where do new thoughts come from then?
Combination of other thoughts.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Best combinations of questions we've ever received.
Whoa. I got to buy the CD now.
That was the point. We are appreciating your assertion, and we are happy that we met you and accomplished this co-creative
I guess
experience.
that's the point. Yeah, I'm not in your space.
Yeah.
We're meeting
Oh,
halfway.
it's wonderful. It's
Right.
wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Satisfied?
Yes.
I'm from Salt Lake, and I just want to make sure I heard correctly. With Esther's going to have seminars at her new residence in Utah?
Yeah. It's going to be a little tricky. She's still working the logistics out, because if she releases it today, there are only 6 events planned, and she wants like 50 to 80 people. Really intimate conversations, no cameras, just recording, talking about special subjects, taking some subjects further than they've ever been before, that sort of thing. But she knows if she releases an announcement, all 6 of the events would fill in about 10 seconds. So she's trying to determine what's the most comfortable way of accomplishing it, and what she is receiving from us right now is trust that law of attraction will bring it about. So she's getting in the receiving mode and waiting for the impulse about how to go about it. Special subjects matters a lot. Special subjects that are really out there on the leading edge matter a lot. That's the whole point of what she is wanting from it. She's wanting an opportunity for a group of people to take a subject that is really meaningful, a group of people who have the same subject in common that is really meaningful, and then really accomplish a vibrational shifting upon it. And so she'll get the ideas, and she's talking about maybe doing some of that in every city, maybe on the Sunday following the big event. In other words, there are lots of ideas that are beginning to occur to her, because she selfishly wants to take thoughts further on some subjects. And so, very exciting prospect as these thoughts are coming to fruition. Yeah.
Well, I think it was in my vortex, because I've always wondered, Esther was born in Utah, why doesn't she do a workshop? And I desired that would happen.
Over time, she and Jerry have just been gravitating to where larger groups are. It was just a sort of natural calling. In other words, the impulse to go where more people are wanting to come. There is so much appreciation, not just from Esther, but from us, about your willingness to gather like this. Whether you get into the chair and are verbalizing openly, or whether you're sitting in the room and projecting vibrationally, your participation in these gatherings is of enormous value. Your participation is of enormous value to the whole, and the whole is of enormous value to you. There's vibrational shifting that takes place in these situations that you can't accomplish as easily under any other situation or condition. So that's the reason.